Okay. All right, good. Let me get to my agenda here. All right. Let's see here. Okay, here it is. Okay. All right. Well, welcome everybody. This is the NCAC Nesquin Citizens Advisory Committee meeting, general membership meeting. The date's October 11th, 2025. Just want to welcome everybody to the meeting today. Thanks for taking time to join. We'll do introductions and a conflict of interest right out of the chute here for executive members. So I'm Mark Everett, the chair, and I have no conflicts today.
I'm Alex Clark. I'm the vice chair. I also have no conflicts.
Michael
Chris
Beach, lead
Sokowski.
parliamentarian, no conflicts.
I
Chris?
think Chris said the same. Chris,
Well, Chris Sokowski, treasurer, no conflicts.
yeah.
Nancy Vandell, bylaws subcommittee chair, no conflicts.
Okay, thanks everyone. And I think that's it for executive board members that I see here. We do have Sarah Absher joining us today, the Director of Community Development for Tillamook County. So introduce you, Sarah, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning. It's wonderful to be here with you.
Yeah. All right. If you look over the agenda today, it's not, we've got the normal business and then we've got a couple of things towards the bottom. Probably one of the biggest conversations today might be around the FEMA BIOP implementation and sort of an update on that. And then I just note that Alex notified me that although the representatives from the state of Oregon couldn't be present today to present on the Butte Creek project that's coming up on the highway there, Alex does have some good information to share today about that. And so under possible guest speaker, somebody has their sound on. Okay. Under the guest speaker, Alex will just do a little presentation on what he learned after a conversation with those folks. And that's item 11. So we'll go ahead and get started. August 9th meeting minutes. I don't know. Nancy, do you want to put those up? I know. Can you put those up, Nancy? Or oh, you're muted, Nancy. You're muted. There you go.
Yes, I
Okay.
will get those up shortly here.
Okay.
Okay, a little slow on the uptake here.
Oh, that's all right.
Okay, they're also in your meeting folder. Thank you, Candace, for doing that.
Yeah, thank you, Candace.
Can everybody see them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me know when you want me to scroll.
Okay. Okay, go ahead and maybe scroll, Nancy. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, have folks had a chance to see those? Okay. All right. Any changes or additions to the meeting minutes?
No, none from me.
Okay. All right, I see heads nodding. No, I don't have any, so hearing none, we'll approve the August 9th meeting minutes. Thank you, Nancy. Okay, notices from Tillamook County. I did get one. I checked the NCAC inbox just this morning actually, and there is one here I want to just share now, and we'll go ahead and try and get this up on the website. It's a timely one and a pretty important one, but and Sarah Absher forwarded this to us, I should say, to the NCAC. So thank you, Sarah. And it's let me just read it real quickly. It is this is from Randy Thorpe, who is the Emergency Management Director for Tillamook County. And the subject is winter preparedness meeting. And so I'll just read it, and again, we'll get it up on the website. Good afternoon. It's the time of year to start thinking about winter preparedness. I'm pleased to announce that we will be holding this meeting again this year. I have set October 20th, 2025 as the date. The time frame is 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and location will be at the 911 Communication District, Stan Sheldon Boardroom, 2311 3rd Street, Tillamook, Oregon, 97. I think there's maybe missing a number in Tillamook, Oregon. I'm hoping to have this get together prior to any winter issues that might or will occur. The National Weather Service Portland office will be presenting a winter weather forecast. As before, I would like each of you to spend about 5 minutes talking about what preparations your department, agency, group have been doing to prepare for the winter months. This will be a great opportunity for us to meet each other and exchange ideas and information. Please RSVPs so I know who will be attending. And thanks for all you do to make Tillamook a safe place to live. And he says, I'm also sending out a calendar invite with a Teams link. So I think you can attend virtually as well. And Sarah, as she sent it to me, said this in her email. Please see the email invite below, which I just read, sharing this invite with CAC leadership so that the invitation can be shared with CAC Emergency Preparedness Committee folks. It may be a full house for this meeting. I would recommend 2 or 3 representatives from each CAC Emergency Preparedness Committee attend this meeting either in person or virtually. And you can reach out to Randy directly if you have questions. So that is the one county notice that I was able to pick up off of the email. So we'll get that on the website as soon as we can. And that date's coming up not next week, I think the week after. And that's the only notice from Tillamook County that I was able to see. So
Mark, do we
Yes.
need to, I don't know that we have an emergency preparedness committee. Do we need to select 3 people to attend the meeting in person? And I guess others can attend virtually, right?
yeah, the names that come to mind are I think Gary's involved, Tom's involved. I know Barbara Triplett is involved in that. So I don't know I think we throw it out there, and if they would like to attend, I don't know, maybe we should open it up. I think I saw 2 of those 3 people here today. Any comments from either Barb or Tom on this, maybe?
I think I can attend.
Okay.
I have to look at my calendar. I wasn't looking at
Yeah.
my calendar. I was figuring that the Emergency Preparedness Committee would take care of that, but
Okay,
apparently not.
okay.
Sounds like maybe something we should have.
Yeah,
well-
yeah. Well, that is something, well, for a number of reasons, as I think about it, that we probably might want to consider doing.
Sarah, raise her hand.
Yeah.
Oh, Sarah's raised her
Oh.
hand and Harvey was talking to.
Oh, Harvey, did you have a comment?
No,
Harvey?
Sarah had raised her hand.
Okay,
Thank you. So Tom, Mark, what I was going to
Yeah.
say is, I know the Nescoin community is heavily involved in the South Tillamook County Emergency Volunteer Corps. I
Uh-huh.
anticipate representatives from the Corps will be there, but I also think it's great if there are community members that also from Nescoin, either those that are part of the Corps or in addition to. Not all areas of our county have an emergency volunteer corps. There's the Nehalem Bay, and then there's the South Tillamook County. So the CAC is kind of in between, and the community groups have their own emergency preparedness subcommittees. Some are part of their CACs, some are not. But I just think this is a great meeting that Randy puts together that is so informative. And, the more folks we have there with limited space in the room, but the virtual option would be great. Some of my staff and I will also be there because this is an important meeting for us too. I would recommend reaching out to Randy directly if you'd like to get that virtual meeting link and calendar invite, just because I'm not sure how many folks would be interested in joining virtually. But Mark, please reach out to him. He knows that I have extended that invitation to the CACs, and you guys are welcome, and he's really excited to have you there.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. Okay.
So I guess, Barbara Triple, are you interested in attending?
I do have time on my schedule on the 20th to attend, but I'll discuss this with the president of the South Tillamook County Emergency Volunteer Corps, and we'll try to broaden that out to other jurisdictions within the STC EVC, get the word out to them. This is the first I've heard of it. So I will take care of that and probably will attend.
Okay. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you.
So it sounds like maybe we don't need to have the CAC appointing anybody. Would that be right, Sarah?
I don't-
As long as it sounds like this other group can handle it through, and Barbara, you could come back and report out in December.
I think it's up to you guys. I think Barbara is a great representative of both entities, but it's something, like I said, the CACs are most welcome to attend this meeting. So it's a good time to get the word out about a lot of important emergency preparedness stuff.
Well, I guess unless there's an objection, I move that we appoint Barbara Triplett and Tom Sipe and invite Gary Billingsley to represent the NCAC at this meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Any conversation about that? Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Take a vote on that. All in favor, say aye.
They could put
Aye.
their-
Aye.
Aye. All, any in opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, treasurer's report is next, Chris.
Sure. Let me unmute myself. Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah,
All right. So we have had a beginning balance of $852, which was our ending balance 2 months ago. And that was agreed to the bank statement. We've had cash outflows of $160. It's one item. It represented the annual Zoom renewal. And that was an item that was budgeted. We've had no cash inflows this period, and that gives us an ending balance of $692, which also agreed to the bank statement. We do have 2 upcoming Squarespace renewals in November, totaling $350, and they represent the annual subscription as well as the Google plugin add-on. So we do have the funds to cover those in November. Any questions?
That last one was the Squarespace was 352, did you say?
There's 2. There's the Squarespace subscription renewal, and then there's the Google plugin, which were both items that were identified on our 2025 budget.
Right, what was the total again?
$350.
350, thank you.
That's the projected. I don't have the actuals yet, but
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, executive board report. So I'll try and go through this. We've had, well, let me just read this. So in August, I think it was August 20th was the scheduled executive board meeting, but we had to cancel that meeting for technical difficulties where it has to do with sort of the chairs learning how to run a meeting, and I was not prepared, so that was my fault. We reconvened and moved that meeting to September 4th and did hold the meeting September 4th. And it was a very brief meeting, about 18 minutes, 20 minutes in duration. Some folks were traveling and gone. We had enough to have a quorum, but it was a very brief meeting. Really, the community plan hadn't done anything to that point. In the summer or during the summer months, they did have a meeting scheduled for September coming up, but had nothing to report from the community plan or really the bylaws. They were on break for the summer and also for outreach. Probably the only thing that was mentioned at that meeting was that I had notified the executive board of those present that I would need to resign. And at that time, I thought it would be mid-October, but that's going to be a little bit later than anticipated. But that's the first time that I mentioned that in a public meeting. We then met on September 24th for our normal September meeting. And the bylaws had met on the 19th, so just a few days before that meeting. And Nancy updated us on, I think Nancy, you had just on that date kind of looked at a scope of work and dates for the foreseeable future. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
We'd yes.
Yeah. The community plan was looking, let's see, September 24th. Or September 24th. They had some technical difficulties on their first meeting, which was supposed to be September 15th, and they weren't able to hold theirs. But Randall updated us at that time that they had rescheduled that meeting, and I don't have the date that they rescheduled that meeting to, but it was similar to the bylaws in that they were looking at their scope of work and just doing dates for meetings through the fall. There was some talk about planning for a new chair, or if not a new chair, how to cover those duties with current folks. And at that time, Alex has mentioned that he would be assuming those both roles, the vice chair and the chair, for the time being, which is just wonderful. Alex will be great in that role. And so we talked about that on that day. And then a lot of the conversation on that day was around the FEMA BIOP implementation plan. The CAC was made aware of a meeting coming up on September 30th, held by FEMA, where they were taking comments about the biological opinion implementation plan proposal. And we spent quite a bit of time on the 24th talking about that as an executive board. At that time, we had three folks that were willing to draft a letter as a comment / response to that implementation plan to FEMA. And that letter would be read on September 30th at the FEMA meeting. And so those three were Nancy, Mandel, Guy, Siebert, and Tom Sipe, and they did just a wonderful job with the letter. They, I think we met, if I'm right, I think we met on a Wednesday, and they worked through the weekend drafting the letter and changing things and getting some putting their minds together on it. I think they, Nancy, you can help me here, but I think it went public on Monday, the 29th, I think, and maybe folks were able to access it in the community and even provide comments up to the meeting that we had on the 29th to approve it. So, so that happened on the 24th. On the 29th, the executive board met in an urgent meeting and reviewed the letter and approved the letter at that time. And then, and that's it for the executive board meetings. And then just a follow up to that, the next night on September 30th, I attended the FEMA meeting virtually and was able to read the letter into the record. And we also sent a copy of the letter to the county and also sent a copy of the letter as well to FEMA, and they acknowledged receipt of that. So I think that covers the executive. We had quite a few going on there in the last month to 6 weeks. So any questions from anybody about that? Okay, great. Hearing none, we'll move on to the next agenda. Oh, go ahead.
Could you just
Oh,
So
yes,
get that on-
Nancy. Okay,
Thank you.
I'm going to officially appoint Nancy as the taking of the minutes.
We're
for
looking
today.
for a secretary, folks.
Yeah, thank you, Nancy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, the community plan, update on the community plan. There are general 3 committees we currently have. So I don't see Randall. Is there, I know Tom, you were on
I
the.
can probably speak to it.
You want to
enough.
speak to that? Thank you, Tom.
Sure. We've, as you mentioned, we had technical difficulties. We've
Yeah.
also had scheduling difficulties. So we haven't had an official meeting, but we have discussed, as is permitted by OPML, discussed schedule
Right.
offline. And the way, my estimation, it looks like we have about 40 or so meetings to be able to go through the entire document. So that puts us out quite a ways. We haven't had a meeting where everybody's nodded their head yes, so it's just my idea so far. But we have a fairly substantial document, but we have a lot of comments. It's been restructured, so the committee has to get their heads around that. And then we have a series of about 34 proposed policies that is meant to be part of the document, which wasn't before this. So we're sort of restarting the process, but not starting from zero. We've got a good most of the document. It's the policy part that's new, and some other parts that need to be clarified. So it looks like it's going to be a fairly long process, given our history. We tend to spend a lot of time on a small amount of the document. So we'll see. We'll see how fast we can go.
Mhm. Okay.
And we will be meeting again on the 20th at 4 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's right.
so,
That's correct, I think. Yeah.
and would appreciate anybody taking a look at it. The document should be posted with the agenda.
Yeah.
And there'll be a new one out 4 days before then, asking for comments. And there's a format for comments that'll be published with it.
Okay. Thanks, Tom. I
Yep.
I would just say that this is a huge undertaking. And I think, I mean, I certainly appreciate all of the work that you have done, and the expertise that you have on that committee is just wonderful. And I I think you do have some work ahead of you, but I just appreciate what you guys are doing with that. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All right, let me get back here. I think bylaws is next. Nancy?
Okay, so we have met, I think it's twice since we resumed operations September 19th, and have discussed a relatively short list compared to the last 2 years of bylaws and policies, procedures, and references, changes that we just didn't have time to get to, or things that just kind of occur to us that need to be done. So we're working on those, and we're meeting again on next Friday, and October 17th. Everybody's welcome to come. We have our meeting documents in the meeting folder. Thank you, Candace, very much. And we're busy. We're at this point looking at possibly December, but I'm thinking of probably more likely February. We're going to actually talk about that next Friday to come up with this year's versions of updates, edits, changes, amendments. And then we hope to be done for the rest of the year. So yay. But we have the same terrific group, including can people hear me? I'm getting a note that my internet's unstable. Including wonderful Michael Beachley and Tom Sipe, Wyatt Angelo, and Susan Schoenberg. So we are continuing to operate. And I think that's it. If Michael or Tom would like to add anything, please feel free. Okay, short and sweet, Mark.
I'll just say that, all of us agree that this is one of very interesting process that we've gone through, and have done so with great detail, and learned a great deal about the process itself. And it's a good model, I think, for other communities to follow. And of course, we enjoy each other, and that's probably what really helps the process along.
Okay.
Thank you, Michael.
And I would agree that that committee's done just outstanding work and will continue to do that. So I was glad to see everybody commit to continuing on the committee. It's having attended many meetings, they just work so well together. So thank you.
And I'll just add, we're going to be in town next week, and our group is getting together for lunch on Saturday, and it will be a week from today. And we will be, if you see us anywhere, we are not talking business, so we are allowed to do an exemption for OPML.
Yeah, OPML, it's everywhere.
And if you want to know about OPML, come to the meeting. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
The official meeting, not the lunch.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, Outreach Task Force is Susan Schomburg, and Susan is not here, and I'm sure that Susan's traveling. She's always traveling somewhere, and so I'm sure she's on the go. I don't have anything to contribute, no new information about the Outreach Task Force, unless now I'll defer if somebody else has something to say about the outreach task force that I'm not aware of. They can certainly, other executive board members, they can certainly say that now. Okay, hearing none, then we'll move on. I think Susan will be here hopefully for the December meeting and update us. Number 9 is hoping to have, we put that in there. We were hoping to have an election for a secretary and or chairperson today. You know, we put that notice out, and I think what I'm going to propose is that we defer that until December. Unless we have somebody today who's dying to throw their hat in the ring for one of those positions. Maybe deferring it to December is good. I know that when I ran initially, we had to submit, we submitted something about who you are and why you're interested in it. Had a chance to talk with, I think Ran was the current chair then, and so I had a chance to talk with Ran about it in terms of the time commitment and the responsibilities. And so going forward, I think it makes sense to defer it to that point. Hopefully we'll get some folks interested, and I know I will continue to be open to any conversations with anybody about the chair position if they're interested after my time is done. I know that Alex would, I think I can speak for Alex, and he would echo that if wanted to contact Alex about that and what he does, and kind of he's seen a little bit of what the chair does. So is that correct, Alex? Would that be?
I'd say that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. And so I think we'll defer that until December, unless there's somebody here that wants to raise their hand and say they'd like one of those 2 positions or like to be considered today. And I don't see, I'm looking for hands. I just don't see any. So, okay, so we'll defer that until December. And then the other part to that is, I think in the meeting documents, I submitted my resignation, and it'll be effective on October 31st. Like I said, I'll continue to be as much as anybody would like to talk to me. I'm open to that. Phone, email, text, however, I'll continue to be a resource if needed. So, and that'll be officially done, I think, at the executive board meeting, which we have later this month, with a motion, and then we'll take a vote on that. So, okay. So after that, let's see what up the agenda here. So, okay, FEMA BIOP update. I don't, maybe Sarah, could I just defer to you for a little bit of an update?
Yeah. Yes.
Or,
Certainly.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to put you on the spot, but
No, you're fine.
okay.
So I was trying to unmute myself, and I had this weird screen thing pop up. So no, okay, you guys can hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. So yeah, no, happy to do that.
Okay.
Couple of things have been happening. You may or may not be aware that all of our congressional delegates statewide ended up sending FEMA a letter shortly before the close of the public comment period, asking for that public comment period to be extended, because they too were concerned that communities, and by communities, I mean not your government officials and your government staff, but people who live and work in communities did not have time to fully understand or appreciate what the draft EIS statement was about, what it said, having enough time to understand it, to really be able to thoughtfully comment on the alternatives 1, 2, and 3. That letter, we have not heard anything about that comment period being extended. As far as we know, it did close on October 6th. And with the federal government shutdown, that has added some complexity to our ability at the moment to be able to engage with our federal staff partners. The next steps, well, and I will say Tillamook County's letter is on the DCD, the Community Development FEMA buyout page. Our letter is pretty lengthy. What we did was try to draft a letter that hit the human, social, and economic elements, as well as some of the legal points that we have continued to make as Tillamook County, and then also in our leadership role with Oregonians for Floodplain Protection. The next steps are FEMA will continue to work through the NEPA process, evaluate the public comments received, and then probably within the next year, they're going to issue a record of decision and the final environmental impact statement. And that record of decision will include the directive we are anticipating of which of those alternatives FEMA has chosen, whether it's alternative 1, alternative 2, or alternative 3. At that point, FEMA will also send local jurisdictions a letter giving them a timeline with implementation and when we have to change our development codes. We are continuing to work through this process as a cooperating agency. So Tillamook County, Benton County, and Umatilla County are 3 counties that are called cooperating agencies. So through this draft process, through this NEPA process, myself and my counterparts in those counties have reviewed hundreds of pages of documents that led us to that draft environmental impact statement. One of the things that we are still trying to do is to go through the draft EIS to really see where our comments were included, considered, etc. And it's been a disappointing process so far. I will just be honest and say that. Nonetheless, we will continue to participate and share updates as soon as they become available. The other thing is the litigation is still ongoing. So think of 3 separate train tracks. So one of the tracks is, and trains is this NEPA review process. We are part of the litigation for the PICOMs that Tillamook County did not choose any one of the 3 options. So there's a lawsuit about the PICOMs, and then there's another lawsuit, which would be the 3rd train and the 3rd track on the 2016 buy-up, which is part of this draft environmental impact statement and this process we're in right now. And they are all moving together forward on their separate tracks. And so the 60-day stay that the judge ordered to give us time to work with FEMA, National Marine Fisheries Service, is coming to an end at the end of this month. So we will know then what our next steps in litigation are. And really at the core of the litigation is just that we want that biological opinion. We want a new consultation. We want a new consultation with National Marine Fisheries Service, because we too support water quality efforts, fish recovery, flood risk reduction, etc. But again, there's a better way to do this that is outside of those 1, 2, or 3 alternative options. So more to come, but we're back in the hurry up and wait game. Thank you, Mark. And I'm happy to take any questions about that, but that's kind of a summary of where we're at.
So
Mark, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Any questions from anybody? Nancy?
could you expand a little on the 2 lawsuits litigation efforts, Sarah? I guess I'd only been aware of the one. So one is to actually go back and look at the 3rd rail is to go back and look at the original lawsuit filed by the environmental organizations and the orders coming out of that, and to kind of appeal that. Is that what I was hearing?
Oh, Sarah, you're on mute.
Mark, right? I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. Nancy, yes. So the third train on the third track is the challenge of that biological opinion that came out of that initial 2009 lawsuit. And that the fundamental issue we have with that 2016 biological opinion is that it assumes any development in a mapped area of special flood hazard will result in jeopardy of an ESA listed species. And if you think about it, so Nescoen has a lot of floodplain, right? And the way FEMA defines development as any human caused change, I mean, that could be as simple as you put up a new mailbox in a post in your front yard. And that's where we disagree that any development causes jeopardy. We don't agree with that. So that is why on that third track, we are asking for reconsultation. And our litigation team is working through that with FEMA. And that is something that we keep coming back to the table and asking for.
Thank you.
And the second track, which is the other litigation, was, if you remember, we had that letter that came in July that gave us a couple of months to either shut down all development in floodplains or adopt different standards that resulted in no net loss. There's a lot of cities and counties across the state, like Tillamook County, that have not adopted anything and have been permitting as we were. Others have taken and selected one of those pickums. And those technically stay in effect until these new regulations from this NEPA review process come out and that record of decision. So we are continuing through that lawsuit because technically that phase of this is not over either. But I anticipate those two tracks may merge at some point.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Sarah? Harvey, did you have your hand up? Oh. Harvey, you're muted. You're muted, Harvey.
How's that?
Yeah, there you go.
So what's the impact on me as a property owner? I have a
So-
property in Descoing, so what's the impact on me? Am I prohibited from doing things? Am I in jeopardy of losing my insurance? That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, no, thank you, Harvey. Those are good questions. Okay, so I'm going to break this down with the insurance, the direct impacts, and the indirect impacts. So in terms of insurance and the NFIP, the reason why we are going through the throes of this is because FEMA has said that if we do not comply with these new regulations, Tillamook County will be removed from the National Flood Insurance Program. So that's a big deal for our policyholders in our communities. That also, the other piece of that, if we do not comply, means that as a county, we are not eligible for a disaster relief fund in the event of a storm. And to give you perspective on that, Director Lady just announced at a meeting the other day, we have finally completed and paid for all of the storm damage from the 2015 storm event. So not having access to federal disaster dollars is also a really big deal for us. So those are the two kind of carrots and sticks, if you will, that come with this process through FEMA. In terms of direct and indirect impacts to you as property owners. So if your property is in one of those mapped areas of special flood hazard and you do not have a home on your property yet, what it means is that you will have to comply with mitigation ratios to offset development impacts that include creating new flood storage, removing impervious surface elsewhere in Nescoen, and look at other requirements for stormwater systems and vegetation, which I don't think are the bad parts of this. But, if you think about your lotting patterns, your lots are so small, basically for property owners with vacant properties, you would have to buy more lots in Nescoen to do the mitigation on, because you're not going to be able to build and mitigate on the size of your lots. For folks that already have homes or structures on your properties, those no net loss standards will eventually kick in when you have to go through maybe substantial improvements and substantial upgrades to your property and to your structures. In terms of the rest of us that are not in these mapped areas, so maybe our homes and properties aren't in these mapped areas, but I want you to think about the village. And whether you go to the market or to Hot Creek Cafe or you go to the beach, you inevitably drive on roads that traverse at some point through these mapped areas of special flood hazard. And what that means is, from a transportation and utility standpoint, is it will significantly increase the costs of even road improvement so high that FEMA anticipates that most jurisdictions will either delay transportation and utility improvement projects in the future, even for maintenance, or not do them altogether. So that piece of it impacts all of us. It doesn't matter where our property is. And those are really the concerns that we highlighted in our letter, and that as a cooperating agency, we have continued to relay to FEMA. And that would go for where you're, maybe, you know, if Nescoin is where your second home is and wherever you live, you know, I mean, the city of Beaverton, for example, has most of their commercial areas are in mapped areas of special flood hazard. You may not realize it, but it's not just Tillamook. It's pretty concerning where all of these mapped areas are throughout our state.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Harvey. I appreciate the question.
Okay. Other questions? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Mark, if I could just say, because I feel so bad. I mean, this is just all doom and gloom, right? I mean, it's just terrible. It's a heavy topic. And I know folks are getting like FEMA topic fatigue. And I completely appreciate and understand that. But this is what I said to the Board of Realtors the other day when I was talking to them. The best thing that we can do is stay informed and keep responding when we have opportunities to share comments, because that right now really is our superpower. That is our way to be effective. And whatever comes out of this record of decision, we will deal with it then. But we have to keep talking about it, and we have to keep educating ourselves, because that's the best thing that we can do, is just know, you know, kind of the ugly truth of all of it as we continue through this process. So I really appreciate you guys continuing to want to know more about it.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. Did you have an approximate date for the record of decision, or
They said, yeah, they said a year.
a year? Okay. Okay.
And Mark, with not to dive into politics, but I think one of the things that we are understanding is that depending on staffing, administration decisions, right? Yeah. But they are on a timeline as a part of that lawsuit. So what makes that piece interesting too is they have to keep moving.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Hmm.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. We all really appreciate you being here and explaining that. That's a big deal. But you know, I think back to about a year ago, we were doing it was another FEMA issue for the Pickham, I guess. And we're scrambling then, and we're kind of scrambling again. So maybe it's just a yearly scramble for FEMA. I don't know, but
it is, and it is that hurry up and wait, Mark, and it keeps happening at the same. Maybe it'll happen next, you know, like late summer, fall. We can kind of start getting ready for it.
Yeah, right. Okay.
But I also just want to thank you again so much for attending that September 30th meeting, and thank you to all of you that put that incredible letter together. The commissioners were also very appreciative of that.
Yeah. Thanks. Okay. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate you being here again. So. Okay, item 11.
Comments.
Oh,
in
go
the
ahead. Is there a
chat,
comment?
From Alex Seifert.
Okay, Alex.
Saying, yes, thanks, Sarah, for the relentless saga. Yes. I second.
Yeah.
Looks like Harvey's talking, but is on mute.
No, trying to put my mute
Okay.
back on.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Okay. item 11 is the guest speaker really today is Alex, who's got some information about the Butte Creek project that that he'd like to share with us today. So, Alex.
Great, thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were hoping to have someone from ODOT come in and give a presentation about the Butte Creek project, which is happening in the spring. But neither the project manager or their PR person was available on Saturdays. So I was able to meet with Kumar, who's the project manager, and he gave me the presentation, such as it is, and now I get to relay that all to you. So for it's a pretty straightforward project. For anyone who's not aware, Butte Creek passes under Highway 101 north of Nesquin, just south of Edelman. So as you pass the fire station or Station 84, there's a culvert that takes Butte Creek, which drains from the hills east under 101, and then it runs pretty much through the golf course. And that culvert is in very bad shape. It's about a 5 foot wide, 4 or 5 foot wide culvert, and it needs replacing. So when ODOT came and did their review of all the culverts and bridges, they flagged that as something that was in critical shape. So so the project's coming up. The timeline is in April. The project is going out to bid for contractors, and the physical construction is planned for starting in July of 2026. So we're talking about next year. And what they're going to do in broad terms is replace the culvert with a bridge. So the culvert's going to be excavated out. There's going to be about 100-foot long bridge that is replacing that. Overall, good news for the creek and for salmon, since the culvert's 5 feet wide, and they're going to be pretty much letting the creek bed run under the road now, instead of constricting everything through a pipe. So the creek bed will expand probably from a 5 foot wide culvert to a 20-foot wide creek bed. So to do that, obviously closing down 101 is an issue for the community. What they're going to do is build a diversion road that's going to lightly bow on the west side of 101 past so from, if you're coming into Nesquin from the north, after you pass Edelman Way, 101 diversion road will slightly bow out on your right on the west side across the current culvert, and then rejoin 101 before the fire station. They don't expect to have to close the road at all, aside from temporary stops while they do a little road work, but they're not planning on closing 101 at all. We'll probably reduce the speed from 55 to 45. So because there's really no way around, once you're in that part of 101, there's no way to divert or detour traffic north south. So that's why they're building a diversion. So overall, it looks like it'll be somewhat low impact for traffic, which is good news for the community. They're going to start construction in July 2026. They're going to start building the diversion road. They're going to close the highway and move to the diversion road probably in October of 2026. Remove the culvert and excavate from October 26 to May 2027. And then they have to build the existing the stream or the creek bed out and excavate the whole culvert, and that has to be done during an in-water work window, which they're working with Department of Wildlife and all the required kind of fishery and environmental groups, and that's a pretty short window from July to September, when no fish are running and there's low water flow. So July to September 2027 will be the bridge construction, and they expect to be completed back on 101, removing the diversion road in October of 2027. So it looks like about a 1.5-year construction project overall. They're going to replace the culvert with as natural as they can get it, a creek bed with fish logs, fish rocks, and they're gonna, it looks from the plans, it looks like it will be a market improvement for fish and all sorts of other critters, because there will be now a pretty wide passageway under 101. So that is kind of the basic outline of what's happening and when it's happening. Kumar, who is the project manager, is pretty available for questions. So they're going to be sending out kind of an ODOT mailer to everyone in the community in the spring, and just kind of giving everyone essentially this update or any new information they have on the project in the spring, so we all know what's coming down the pipeline. But he was as excited as one can get over a bridge construction. He thought that this was going to be a good improvement over what's there structurally, but also in terms of wildlife and fish.
Okay. Thanks, Alex. That was great. I was taking notes here. It's, thanks for getting down to that level of detail, starting and finishing, and what they're replacing in diversion roads. So thanks very much for that.
Yeah, it was
Mark,
good to know
may I-
that. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. May I make a comment?
Yes.
I want to channel my inner Guy Sievert here and
Yeah.
let everyone know that there's been a lot of work on Butte Creek, and when this is done, there will still remain one last project upstream of the 101 culvert, but the removal of tide gates at the golf course, below this project, and then above this project, both a failing culvert was replaced with a small bridge, and another failing bridge was replaced with a larger bridge. So all good stuff for Butte Creek, just giving a little context.
Yeah. Thanks, Alex.
Is that
Other
happening at the
questions?
same time as the other parts of the Butte Creek project, Alex?
So all the work downstream is done. The two projects upstream are done. So there's one that remains, and I believe they're seeking funding. It's a tremendously expensive but small project.
Okay. Okay. Any questions or comments on that one? Questions for Alex? Thank you, Alex.
Of course.
Thanks again. That was great. Okay. Let's see. We're down to item 12, which is announcements. I don't have any announcements. Any executive board members have any announcements or community? Okay. I'm not hearing any. Public comment time? Any public comment at this time? Here. Don't, let's see.
I think Harvey has his hand up.
Okay, Harvey, go ahead, Harvey.
Well, thank all of you for your efforts. I really appreciate the energy you put into this process in the community. And I've been a property owner there for, well, my time for 50 years, but we've been here for 30 years. And it's just a real blessing. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. And Sarah says she's signed off, so I guess I don't see any other public comment. And I guess with that, we're going to sign off as well. And so I want to thank everybody for coming today. I just would say, you know, the winter preparedness and emergency preparedness is it's just great to see that come in. And I know we have work going in South Tillamook County now with groups, but that I think going forward, that's going to be really critical. Not knowing where FEMA is going to land on any of this stuff, so that's going to be really important. And then the FEMA issue will be continuing. That'll continue for some time. So,
And Mark,
yeah,
also
go ahead,
want
Al.
to thank you for, I mean, this is your last official big meeting.
Oh,
And thank you for all the work.
yeah,
I mean, you really stepped up and
yeah,
created a great chairperson role.
yeah. Well, thank you very much, Alex. And
I would like to second what Alex said. I think over the last year and a half that you've been chair, things have really settled down and become really productive. I don't know, I think a lot of that's due to your leadership, and I just want to really appreciate you. And there are 2 comments in the chat.
yeah, thank you, board and all volunteers. And Sarah, that's from Barbara Gordon and Candace Miller. Thank you, Mark. So I appreciate that. I was just going to say that I've had
If I could,
yeah.
Your leadership has caused a great deal of stability and confidence in this organization. And it's laudable and it's notable and it's highly appreciated. It's good stuff. It's just really good stuff. And all of us do appreciate it. I hope that whoever replaces you has
Yeah.
a good piece of that as a model to carry on. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I would just, for those of you that don't know, I won't say too much, but I'm having to resign due to some significant family issues that has to do with my mom. So,
Well, as I've said before, we've all been there and we're all going to be there.
yeah.
So, we're all hanging with you there. So do what you need to do.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And I think with that, I'll still be around for any questions or anything. I'll still be available. So, but thank you very much. And I am here until the end of October and we'll be around after that. So appreciate everybody and all the comments. So thank you very much and have a good rest of your day and go Ducks and Beavers today. So
yeah, okay.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Mark. Thanks, everyone.
bye-bye.